So this guy is an ex-Christian and is converted to Islam and is going to talk about that. But for some reason, he's bringing Israel and Palestine into this. And he's saying, like, I don't understand why atheists are supporting Israel. By supporting genocide, these people are saying that we support Israel. Supporting Israel, apparently these days, is being translated to supporting genocide.
The one thing that I find the most shocking is the amount of atheists that are team genocide in the name of religion. I don't know what I am. I think I'm agnostic.
No.
I haven't really touched faith since I stepped away from the church when I was 13. But one thing that I felt was important with learning about the history of this conflict, learning the history of the Middle East, learning the history of those cultures, was reading the Quran. And me, as somebody who is not religious, I started reading the Quran in order to deconstruct my beliefs that Islam is a violent, hateful religion, which it's not. And I've learned that through many verses. I've learned that through many chapters. Because me, as somebody who has been a self-proclaimed atheist for a decade now, I cherished education over everything. I cherished education over faith. But that doesn't mean disregarding education about faith. But to see all of the atheists come out of the woodworks, show their true colors, I feel myself stepping closer to faith again. And it's not just one faith. I wouldn't say it's just Islam or it's just Christianity or it's... I feel myself stepping closer to God. And part of that is seeing the hateful rhetoric that people like myself are spreading currently. I realize this, but as an atheist, you aren't speaking against religion like you think you are. You're speaking against Islam. You're speaking against Muslims. You're speaking against brown people. And we know this isn't a conflict of religion. A lot of people think it is, but this is a colonialistic project. But with your siding with the empire, you are also siding with the belief that this is a religious war, a religious conflict. But you are choosing one religion over another because of your own negative tropes. I think atheists should be morally ashamed of yourself. You know, alongside your Islamophobic comments, you talk about your education, you talk about your knowledge, but you are not informing yourself of the very true history of what is going on right now. You're not informing yourself of the 100 years of colonialism. You're not informing yourself of the decades of siege. You're not educating yourself about this well-oiled machine that maintains this power and terrorist cycle. And I don't think it's a coincidence that you see terrorist actions coming from Muslim countries, considering these Muslim countries have been under fire for decades now, since the 80s or 90s, even before, but specifically harshly since the 90s. I don't know if I'm alone in thinking this way, but I hope you all have a great day, and it's free Palestine until the day I die.
What does this got to do with anything? What is I don't understand. What does atheism got to do with this? I mean, we have atheists that support Israel. We have atheists that are anti-Israel. We have atheists that are calling Israel genocidal. We have atheists that are saying like Israel has the right to defend itself. We have atheists that are not even following this at all. We have atheists that are completely clueless about what the hell is happening. Why are you generalizing all atheists about having a certain position? Does this man know that atheists are coming with so many different opinions, and the only thing that atheists agree on is that they don't believe in God? That's the only thing they agree on. What are you talking about? We have atheists that even say like, oh, Islam is a good thing for the masses. I don't believe in God or Islam, but Islam is freaking great. We need Islam. We even have atheists like that. So I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you talking generally about atheists like they're all in agreement about anything other than lack of belief in God, which is dumb. You like shows that you don't understand at all what you're talking about. But even that's one reason why this is irrelevant. And another thing that makes this irrelevant is that imagine if Israel is committing a genocide. Let's say that. Let's say Israel is like evil empire, just killing babies for the joy of it. Okay, act of genocide by the entirety of the country of Israel. Let's imagine that. Assume that that's true, and then also assume that atheists in general love that. Like, ooh, I like children dying. Thank you, Israel. Go kill children. We enjoy it. All right. We atheists just love saying that. What does that do about atheism? Atheism is would be still the correct position, even if all atheists were just pure evil. It doesn't do anything to atheism. Atheism is still valid because you have no evidence or proof for the existence of God. Even if every single atheist out there was just pure evil, it wouldn't change that. And it also wouldn't change the fact that Islam is a violent religion, unlike what you said, which is actually very interesting because Islam proudly is pro-violence. I mean, go talk to Muslims like Daniel Haqqaju. They're like, yeah, of course. It has every right to be pro-violence. Like, you could question whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, sometimes Muslims are like, yeah, it's pro-violence and for good reasons. But I would say for bad reasons. But it's undeniable that it has a lot of calls for violence in it. Like, that's undeniable. In fact, it's very interesting that you're talking about Israel and Muslims, where the children of Israel, according to the Quran itself, have been mandated to not to kill, and then the Muslims in the Quran have been mandated to kill. I mean, I'm not saying the Jewish religion is peaceful, because it's not, but according to the Quran, it seems to be. I don't understand how these people read the Quran and miss these verses. Do they just like skim through it? Because it's really hard to come up with the conclusion that he came up with, given the verse that I'm about to show you. Hold on.
Religious, I started reading the Quran in order to deconstruct my beliefs that Islam is a violent, hateful religion.
Okay. Deconstruct. You read the Quran and you deconstructed that. Let me reconstruct the idea that Islam is a violent and hateful religion back for you, okay? 532 and then 533. And he's saying LOL because he knows how this progresses. How when we start looking at this verses, because people will cite 532 every time people cite 532 for you, just ask them, have you read the verse after? That's a very beautiful verse. Let's continue. Let us move forward. Just not, you don't need to move forward a lot. Just one verse after. Just read one verse after. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Okay. All right. So this is the verse that people love to share. We decreed upon the children of Israel that whoever kills a soul, unless for a soul or for corruption done in the land, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. Okay. So first of all, usually when people read this, they don't read you the entire verse. Okay. They read you this part. This part is they start from here. Whoever kills a soul, and then they read this part. It is as if he had slain mankind entirely. So look at the parts that they don't quote, right? So again, this is the Quran says, you hear this a lot. The Quran says, whoever kills a soul, it is as if he has slain mankind entirely. So even without me going to the next verse, you already see that with the proper context, this doesn't seem as nice, okay? So first of all, when we cite the violent verses of the Quran, people are like, you're taking it out of context. That was specifically for that one specific battle at that one specific time. But then they will quote you this verse, and they don't tell you those verses don't mention that this is not for other people. You know, the verses that the violent verses, when the Muslims say that this is only for these people, God doesn't mention that this is only for those people. But this verse that is supposed to be the beautiful one, it does. It says, we decreed upon the children of Israel. So not for you. This was specifically for the Jews. This was for the Jews. So this is the verse that is specifically for some people at certain time. Okay? And children of Israel. Unless it's for a soul, so basically you can kill somebody if you're killing them because they killed somebody, or because they have spread corruption in the land. Like me. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, according to Islam, when he says spreading corruption in the land, what is spreading corruption in the land? Speaking ill against Islam. All right, we're doing right now. We're doing this. The thing that, first of all, it doesn't actually tell you what that means. Well, let's see what Sahih International apparently told us what it means. So let's take a look. What is this corruption in the land? What do you mean by corruption, Allah, your Quran did not come with footnotes. But the interpretation based on Sahih and Tafsir that we read, spreading corruption in the land includes advertising against Islam. So you can kill me, apparently, right? Let's say the verse was only this: whoever kills a soul, it is as if they slain entire mankind. Even if that was the whole part of the verse, that's still insane. Yeah, now killing one person is not like killing the entire mankind. I would say, like, because people are like, oh, this is so beautiful. Killing one person is as bad as killing everybody. Well, it's not as bad as that. Killing everybody is worse. Killing one person, killing everybody is a lot more horrible than killing. I mean, you could tell that when the same people that are saying, like, oh, 30,000 people were killed in Gaza, 30,000, this number is high. Why are you referring to the high number, given that one person being killed and every mankind being killed is the same thing? The high number should be irrelevant according to the Quran, apparently. If you think this is what this verse is saying, because I don't think that's what I will tell you specifically. So what we learned from this verse was that this is a commandment to the children of Israel. This whole not killing people idea, it was a commandment to the children of Israel. It's not saying that we decreed this for everybody at all time. It's saying that the Jews should not be doing that. But what does the next verse say? Because the next verse is decreed upon Muslims. This was decreed upon Jews. The next verse is what is decreed upon Muslims for all time. So, Mr. Obama, back then, when you read this verse to show how peaceful Islam is, this is Quran 532. Go and see 532. Let's look at 533. Beautiful. Oof. Love this. Okay. Says, remember the guy that the video that we watched just said, like, oh, I read the Quran because people tell me Islam is violent and I had to deconstruct that. So I read the Quran to understand that it's not violent. Well, let's read the Quran. It says, indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and his messenger and strive upon earth to cause corruption is none but that they be killed or crucified, or that their hands and feet be cut off from opposite sides, or that they be exiled from the land. That is for them a disgrace in this world, and for them in the hereafter is a great punishment. Just to be clear, let's read another translation of the same verse. Those who wage war against God and his messenger and strive to spread corruption in the land should be punished by death, crucifixion, the amputation of alternate hands and foot, and banishment from the land. A disgrace for them in this world, and then a terrible punishment in the hereafter. What is waging war against Allah? What does that mean? What does it mean? Waging war against God and his messenger and spreading corruption in the land? Do you recognize what that means? Well, you're looking at it. What we're doing right now. Because you cannot shoot Allah. By the way, if you're saying, like, we're not sure what it means, Allah does not explain what this means. So it's really up to your interpretation. And the historic interpretation, according to Islamic ulama and their scholars, based on the hadith and early Islamic tafsir, is that waging war against Allah and spreading corruption in the land is exactly what we're doing right now. Speaking ill against Islam. By the way, in Iran, a lot of people have been executed for exactly this crime. This is a legal term in Iran's legal system. Waging war against Allah. And not only does it ask you to kill them, it asks you to crucify them and cut off their opposite hands and legs. They say they do it opposite because that will cause the most difficulty. I don't understand that. I think if you do the same side, that will cause the most difficulty, but whatever.